Renieuw is all about transformation through the renewal of the mind. Hello everybody, my name is Yanni, and today we're going to talk about transformation, what it is, what it means, and how it fits into my coaching approach. As you might recall from my latest blog, Transformation, the origins of that, transformation is a concept that started back in Paul's days in AD 27 to 30. In Romans 12 verses 1 to 2, Paul speaks about transformation through the renewal of the mind. And to understand this concept, I like to refer back to Paul's life story, which is purely a transformational story and such an inspirational story for me personally. And just just to experience what he's gone through, moving from an extreme on the one side to an extreme on the other side is very inspirational. So the gist of it is that Paul went from being against Christians to being for Christians in the earlier days of the start of the church and the start of Christianity. But the key point that I'm focusing on here is the transformational process. Paul went through a dramatic and an amazing transformation when he met Jesus there on the road to Damascus, is where he basically started transforming from Saul into Paul. But just to take that into a modern day perspective, the transformation process is ideally it's viewing something from a certain perspective and then seeing that same thing from a different perspective and realizing that wow, that aha moment that you get moving from point A to point B. It's much like the example that I used in my first podcast, talking about the shortcut, which you didn't know about, and all of a sudden someone tells you, hey, there's a shortcut, and it's that aha moment, and wow, I didn't know about this. It's much similar, I'm a Lego fanatic when it comes to techniques and all of this. It's much similar like that. Have you ever been in a situation where you put everything together and it doesn't want to get done? It's like, that this piece has to go there, and you turn the thing upside down, you page the book from back to front, and all of a sudden you pick up, oh goodness, and on page 2, right in the beginning, you actually put that block upside down. Instead of going in right to left, you put it in left to right. And turning this whole block around, or the single small block in the inside, if you turn that around, you actually realize the big difference that it makes on the end result. And what we're aiming for, to finish the block and to get to the last page, and your creation looks the same as the one in the book. So let's go back to that small block, that small change that you made, just turning it around, putting it in the other way. That is very similar to the coaching process when we focus on transformation. So sometimes making the smallest change can carry the biggest result. And that could be purely standing up 10 minutes earlier in the morning to get to that extra time that you need to finish a certain task, or doing a little bit extra on a daily basis so you're less overwhelmed on the end of the due date when you've got a task and you've got due dates. So how do we trigger this transformation process? Where does it start? How do we even consider going to that? Is to know where you want to go, you need to know where you are at this present time. So how do we find out where we are? And this is where the coaching process comes in. It's coming alongside you and really asking questions. Yes, some of them might be tough questions, and some of them might even get you to think. And this is the important part here. This is where coaching really hits the peak, is those moments of silence where you actually tell yourself, hey, that's a very good question. And you start thinking, and you start going beyond the original border, the first border that you think is the end of the line. You see, hey, but that's something different. That could be a gate of sorts. And you start going closer. And as you go closer to it, you see, my goodness, this is a gate. Is it locked or is it unlocked? And the coaching process takes you closer, and then you actually get to the gate and you see, but listen, yes, it might be locked, but where do we get the key? And then with the next session of questions, you actually discover the keys that you need to open this gate. And then once that gate is open, this is where the aha moment takes place. Is where you actually realize that you've been your own worst enemy. You've been holding back your own potential by thinking about something in a specific way. Yes, we are social creatures and we fall into our own perspectives very easily, and we've got big cultural and modern influences on who we are. But that should never limit us to becoming who we can be. And just to take it all back to Paul's story, is if you have read some of Paul's work and the origin story of Paul, where he started, is you'll notice that this guy was a extremist when it came to Christianity. He stoned some of them. He was in the foregrounds being against them. And then if you look at Paul being the biggest contributor to the New Testament, how he shifted to becoming for Christianity, that change was remarkable. And it all started by a small mind shift and accepting of truth that he rejected before. And this was that, we know the story. Jesus was giving him the I am the Son of God and I am your Lord. And that perspective there, that mind shift that happened there, changed Paul's life going forward. And that became his driving force that took him to the next step and to the next step. Paul was already a highly educated person, and he had this passion and he had the tools, but he was utilizing it wrongly. He was holding back his potential. And once it was unleashed, he started moving forward, breaking barriers, reaching new highs. And we can do the same in our lives. Is sometimes we are our own worst enemy, holding ourselves back. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we need to be bold and take uneducated decisions and high risk decisions. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying don't exclude possibilities from your perspective. And this is where the coaching process is really, really beneficial. Whether it is wanting to excel in something specific, or whether it is that you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you hit a stop street or a T-junction where you're not sure if you have to turn left or right. The coaching process really helps to unpack this whole thing and really put it into perspective. So if I turn right, what is the consequences going to be? If I turn left, what is the consequences going to be for me as a person? Why am I doubting if I should turn left or right? And this is a bunch of questions that comes forth in the coaching process. It's questions aimed at getting you to think different about the same scenario, so you can reach destinations and potentials that you didn't even know existed before. So transformation is an incredibly powerful process, and it can really make differences in so many dimensions of our lives. And whether it is in the relationship with your wife or your husband, whether it is with your relationship between yourself and your kids, whether it is your work environment, your view of yourself, coaching can help you unlock that specific element so that you can have your own aha moment. And this is what I'm aiming for in the coaching process, is really and purely just to bring out what's already inside yourself, coming alongside you and looking at your situation from a wide lens perspective, and really forgetting about the limitations that you're putting in your life, and help you to open that gate, help you to find the keys that you need to enter the premises that you want to go into. And really, this is a cooperative and a collaborative process. It's not me telling you what to do. It's me asking you the questions so you can determine and understand why you made certain decisions the way you have, and help you unpack this whole scenario so that if you make a decision, what are the possible outcomes? And even to the extent, if the outcome is not as I predicted it to be okay with it, and to be resilient, and to allow yourself to pick yourself up and retry a different direction. So it's all about creating comfort in yourself, to unlock that potential inside yourself so that you can become the best version of yourself. And sometimes we have to ask the difficult questions, and sometimes it makes it easier when someone else is asking that difficult questions. So if you ever hit a stop street or a dead end or a T-junction, consider the coaching process. Give me a call. Let's have a chat informally and see if this is going to work for you. Test it out. We like to test the water before we jump in it. We need to put our toes in there sometimes. But sometimes you need to just jump in. And yeah, the water's going to be okay. It's summertime. It might be cold initially, but you'll get used to it. So I want to challenge you there is when you hit these stop streets or T-junctions or dead ends, reach out to me, and let's see if we can help make sense of this together. And really, it's a growing process. It's a thing that you can continue putting into your life. It's tools that you can learn, that you can utilize as you go forward, as you go on in life. So transformation is a really great process. Coaching is an exciting process. It really helps you discover parts of yourself that you didn't know existed, or help you open those gates. So if you ever feel like you want to approach the coaching process, please make contact with me on my website. My details is on there. Or leave me a comment on one of the social media posts. I'll gladly reach out to you and have a discussion. Just an informal chat at first, if that will make you more comfortable. But yes, coaching is a passion for me, and I would really like to help you make those difficult decisions.